latest we're hearing about all this CM Punk news?
Well, apparently there was a Fightful reported that there was a disciplinary committee, and and Bryan Danielson was one of the main players on this committee, and so he was kind of instrumental in CM Punk getting fired. So that came out this week. I think some people were like, "Why?" The timing seems weird. Like, why are they leaking or confirming this story this week? I'm not Fightful, but AEW in general.
Can I?
So, oh, go ahead, Matt.
Can I share why I think? Because Tony went on Twitter, and boy, was that a mistake. Because he went on Twitter the same week that CM Punk debuted, and he got absolutely pulverized in the comment section of CM Punk news. My opinion, and it's not my opinion, but this is what others that are wrestlers, I'll just put it to you that way, have shared with me via text message, is that they feel like that Daniel, he always call him Daniel Bryan Danielson is just the vibe is, trying to take the heat off Tony a little bit. And you can say what you want about like friggin', this board that they have, this disciplinary board, and it's made up of 2 attorneys and 1 wrestler. The 1 wrestler is Daniel Bryan, but Bryan Danielson. I promise I'll get this right. Because he's so respected. So it's like part of me feel he's such a good guy. He's such a great human being that like there's nothing to really make fun of here except he's being a good company guy. And in my opinion, taking the heat off of Tony, because I do think Tony is incredibly reactionary to what fans say to him on Twitter. I mean, it's just one medium on how to get feedback from fans, and it's a good one. Don't get me wrong. But the best medium is people buying tickets to your show. That's the best medium to determine if you're doing well. Don't worry about these stupid people making snarky comments to you. You're the owner of the company, brother. Act like it. Don't, you know what I mean? You can't get all, hurt feelings and thin skin over this kind of stuff, especially going to be the owner of that company. And the shots you guys have fired, let's be real, at WWE, especially Vince. Not that he doesn't have them coming, by the way. He does. But you know what I mean? So you can skin about this. You got to be able to take it. And I will say this: if you do create that kind of disciplinarian board, and you have to have a wrestler inserted into it, who better than Bryan Danielson? Again, I cannot tell you guys how friggin' respected he is. He just is. He's a great human being.
Smart guy, fair. Him and Punk were friends, and so
super tight.
Yeah, so it couldn't have been an easy decision, but he did what he felt was best for the company. So,
and he tweeted, not in regards to Punk, but people are assuming this is in regards to Punk.
I thought it was.
Yes, my dad always told me the right thing is often the hardest thing to do. It won't always make the most money. It won't always be the most popular, but it's still the right thing. Hashtag AEW and a heart emoji.
I'm sure, that was clearly about that.
I thought it was too. I mean, we're not mind readers, right? We can only speculate and try to get it right the best we can. But I did feel that's what that was.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because, I mean, given the character that Bryan has played throughout his career, I mean, he is that person, right? Even when he was doing the Earth's Champion in WWE, not that far from the guy he is off camera as he is on. I think he just turns it up more. But it's interesting because I've seen it go both ways with this, where it's like, well, if you're gonna have somebody, Matt, to your point, that can be the moral and ethical compass, like he's going to be more the letter than spirit, perhaps, of this, and hold things to a very high standard. Where it'll be interesting what this means for Jungle Boy. If Jack Perry ends up coming back, or maybe he was really,
he was suspended. Yeah, no,
I know he was, but I'm saying it'll be interesting to see like the consequence of it. It's also interesting. I don't know. I mean, with Punk, it's the more I think about this, I mean, he definitely added fuel to the fire. But if you look at the Elite's behavior, Jack Perry's behavior, even Tony Khan's behavior, no one has their hands clean in this entire situation.
Even Hangman Page, when people are like, oh, Punk called out Hangman unprovoked. It's like, no, I mean, Hangman clearly knew what he was doing when he did that promo about workers' rights, and knowing that had to do with Colt Cabana. When Colt Cabana wasn't fired, he was still with the company. So, it's just unfortunate that it wasn't nipped in the bud then. who knows how different things could have been if it got nipped in the bud way back then. But we'll never know.
That's 100% right. It's they left money on the table is an understatement of the year.
Yeah.
They had money on the table twice. A gift. And I mean, they blew it both times.
I mean, when you look at the dream matches that they could have done when Punk came in, like Punk versus Omega and Punk versus Cody, which we might get in WWE. Yeah. Speaking of which, we got to talk about that. But there was a lot of money left on the table, and I think Tony sometimes when he doesn't want to do big matches on TV that often. But now that they got monthly pay-per-views, maybe this will change. But by always holding them off on pay-per-views, you've lost out on a lot of big matches. You never got Cody versus Omega. You never, there were just so many big matches that they never got to. And hopefully now with the monthly pay-per-views, they'll get there.
Yeah. But the AEW locker room is now on notice that Discipline Daddy Bryan Danielson is out there to enforce.
He's watching you. So he's kind of like, that was the Undertaker for you guys, right, Matt?
Yeah. So let me ask you guys a question. This isn't new. Like, this is something that got put together after the Fall Brawl, or whatever the hell it was, the Fallout, Brawl Out, whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah.
When they had to fight with the Young Bucks. After that was done, that's when they started this disciplinary board, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, to answer your question, Raj. And I was going to say this in a different form, but you're right. Yeah, Undertaker, JBL, our veterans were our locker room leaders, right? And they handle our own stuff, whether it's wrestlers' court, or whether it's them pulling you to the side, or whether it's them embarrassing in front of the whole locker room. One of the three. But there was this. You were nervous. We always used to hear it back in the day when I was wrestling there. You always heard about talents walking on eggshells and things like that. It wasn't just walking on eggshells because of your spot or where you're at on the show or your character or what are they going to do with you in the future. It wasn't just that kind of eggshell walking. It was the eggshell walking of, pissing the veterans off by accident. Doing something, like Miz did, something as innocent as eating in the locker room. And by God forbid, dropping a piece of chicken by accident, like a crumb of chicken on Chris Benoit's bag. And then they gets kicked out of the locker room for it. I've seen crazy things like that. Muhammad Hassan, I watched him get absolutely eviscerated. Millions of different times. But my point is, I always saw it as two ways. One, a way to be bullies, in my opinion, at times. The other part of it, the other half, I'd say, rather, it's also, I see it as a way, as that guiding force, these bumper rails, so to speak, to stay moving forward in a straight line versus what's going to happen if you act like this or if you say this is what's going to happen. So because of that, you knew there was repercussions if you did something like that. So the fear of those repercussions kept a lot of people on the straight and narrow. I'm not going to lie. So I wonder this, Glenn.
Yeah.
AEW, when they started up, I just assumed that would be Jericho. I just assumed that would be a Christian Cage, even though he's not a very loud guy. He's very to himself. I just assumed it would be like the veterans that came in through WWE, especially Chris, because Chris is definitely a leader in the locker room. Even in WWE, he was. So I just assumed they would have it set that way. But I think with, wrestlers being, the VPs, EVPs, and things like that, I do think that skews it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I think, so with AEW, and I want to get back to WWE and this wrestler's court idea in a moment, but with AEW, I looking back and just even thinking about, Matt Kuhn and I podcast together Friday night. We covered SmackDown over on the other channel. And we were talking about the original Double or Nothing. And I know people that were backstage. Raj, we were there in Vegas and we met people. One guy that we were like gambling with and hanging out with was like, oh, I helped somebody carry something backstage. And next thing you know, I'm part of the backstage crew. Cody came up and shook everybody's hand. It was like, we're going to do things differently here. We're going to be a family. Cody had his idea of what AEW should be like backstage. Jericho had his idea. The Bucks had their idea. Omega had his idea. And then Tony Khan was just sort of in the center of it. I think that's the problem with the backstage culture is it's almost a case of too many cooks. And because it was new, it was a chance for everyone to push this reset button in a different way where there were no set rules, because you might have had Cody be like, I always thought this was bullshit in WWE. And the Bucks we're like, well, this is how it is at indie shows. This is how we want it to be. Jericho's the old man being like, well, back in my day.